It's Friday, January 23rd, and we've got big weather to talk about. A very significant East Coast forecast, Midwest to the East Coast. You see all the watches and warnings. This is a big deal. 180 million people. And the way of this slow moving, I won't call it a disaster, but you're going to have 180 million people impacted, not with snow. Snow is like a blow and go kind of a thing. This is going to be ice storms, freezing rain, and snow. And that's going to cause multiple days of power outages, trees down, big problems. It's that freezing rain that does it, right? The snow, it falls as rain and then falls into a cold layer and then freezes, and it just freezes. As soon as it hits something, it ices up on it. You've seen those pictures. And that's what we're going to see, especially south of Kentucky and Tennessee and down into the Southlands. You're going to see that mix of freezing rain, sleet, snow, and it's going to cause problems. So it's a slow-moving disaster. 180 million people in the way of this system. The Chicago O'Hare right now, this is a live camera out of the Chicago. I'm looking at airports. They're fine right now. We'll take a peek at those coming up. But airports over the next couple of days, it's -8 in Chicago right now. It's clear. But by tonight, tomorrow, and through Sunday, flight delays going to be a real thing, a big deal. And this is why. This is the national map. I'm just showing you, I'll show you the two lines here, and this is what we're tracking. See the 5520 line right here? That's kind of that's the snow line, if you will. That's where it is right now. It shouldn't be that far south, right? That's freezing temperatures. Then this is the kind of the subtropical jet down here, the 576 line. But if I move it through time, see that you got the 5520 line encompassing Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, Memphis. Look how far south it drops into the Carolinas on here. So that's when that line gets that far south, you've got very cold air, unusually cold air, and it bumps into the warm air to the south. And so we'll take a deep dive into that. We've got dense fog advisory. So that's the big story. Right, and the other thing I would say, as you look at dense fog in the Central Valley down towards Fresno, this is going to be one of those forecasts. I feel bad for the East Coast guys. Because it is going to be devastatingly difficult to get this right. It's like forecasting smoke, fog together. Like we have our issues with smoke and fog, trying to get those forecasts correct because they're hard to the models. This is kind of the same thing because you have multiple. You have a temperature sandwich, if you will, and you've got some very cold air coming in underneath. You've got some warm subtropical air coming in underneath. That subtropical air coming from our weather system that brought a few showers to Southern California yesterday. That system is going to bump into this and bring warm, moist air in. So the very cold air gets driven under the cold or the warm, moist air and drives it up because cold air is dense, so it drives it up. So you're going to get this weird layer, this temperature sandwich, which is going to cause all sorts of problems for folks, all sorts of problems. So dense valley fog. I think Fresno, you clear today. I think Fresno could get into the low 60s, but you have dense fog advisory now, as we have had the last few mornings, and it will continue. And then we can take a peek at this ad blocker, which is, let me reset that. That's Malibu. This is the system right here. And let's see if we can pick up on, we'll just kind of put it in here. So here's that system from yesterday. See how it's spreading out here? Well, it's getting sucked into this cold air wedge that's coming down. And the cold air is going to wedge underneath it, create enough dynamics that you're going to get precipitation of all kinds, of all nature. And and there's a super strong jet stream. The jet's in sort of a, not zonal flow, but it's in an open trough flow, and so the jet speeds are, over 130 knots in many cases, and so that's going to add to the dynamics here. So I won't break it down too much, but I'm telling you, I wouldn't want to be an East Coast weather guy right now because it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one to figure out. And as we get closer to it, as it starts to occur tonight and tomorrow, you'll be able to dial it down because you'll see what's happening as opposed to what could happen based on what the models are doing. So here's the 500 millibar vorticity model. We're looking for rain, so we'll do that real quick. We'll just go, okay, where's our next chance of rain? It still looks like it's around the 28th right there. 28th, right? And it's looking better. That looks significant. And then some of this looks okay, and that's on the February 1st. So our pattern looks like it's unsticking, except for that. That doesn't look good, but that's way down the road. And then if we go all the way back and we look at this, see the flow here? So that's, like I said, not real. It's almost zonal. So that tells you it's a wickedly fast jet stream. And see, the dynamics are not all that strong, like the upper air, but the dynamics that are strong are the temperature. So underneath here, you're like, yeah, Bill, I can see some dynamics here, but here it's sort of vague, right? I mean, in terms of greens and oranges and yellows representing lift and spin in the atmosphere. Yes, it is. But underneath this is upper air. So underneath this is that cold air that comes down. And so that cold air acts like it's a wedge. It sits on the ground. It's like when we look at Fort Jones and that fog, it sits down. Well, imagine air that's 18, 20 degrees below zero. It hugs the ground, and it grabs that warm air coming from our system yesterday, from this system, drives it up. And that's the mechanism for the precipitation. And as it gets driven up, you're going to have a warm layer, a cold layer, a warm layer, a cold. You're going to have multiple layers, a sandwich of temperatures that are going to cause problems for folks. And again, the freezing rain is the one you hate. That's the one that freezes on poles, drops power out. You're going to have freezing temperatures and people without power for a couple of days, because you got the number of people engaged in this, the number of cities engaged in this event. Well, right here, where is it? There it is. I mean, look at all that. That's a lot. So everything, I know we're doing California weather. I'll get to West Coast, but that's a nightmare. I was watching Weather Channel guys this morning, and I cut them a break on this one because they're always grieving us because you don't have real weather like we do. This is real weather, and it's very slow moving, and it's a difficult forecast because you're dealing with air masses, and cold air does not move out that quickly. Cold air wants to hang on, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. This is the West Coast forecast. We're looking for the 28th. Right there. I'm not going to give you too much model today because I don't want to burn you out. I got some good north to south though, and then we have some awesome nature snacks. So that right there, all right? So that's Wednesday 12Z. So Wednesday morning about 5 a.m. That'd be nice. That's even a little bit of snow for the mountains, maybe a couple inches. And then you just see stuff going by. So it's starting to break loose a little bit. I am starting to get a little teeny bit nervous about getting it to break loose because we can't go much longer with it like this and do well for the rain season, or more so the snow season. And then there's that Wednesday the 28th, and then you see it paints. It doesn't do much, does it? Yeah, I still think it's going to break this. I don't think we have to be married to that forecast. 43 degrees today out in Wairika. And that's Mount Shasta. Can't really see the mountaintop. This is Mount Shasta. You can see the mountaintop. This is from kind of more out towards Goose Lake area. Let's see if I can move this. I think I can. Yeah, and then that's Mount Lassen, right? So you're looking right here is the beginning of the south. That's Mount Lassen, the middle peak. You're looking at the beginning of the Cascades, right? That's where the subduction zone is, which is awesome. So I think that's kind of cool. And then you move through that. Isn't that beautiful? Like, that's why I think like Fall River, you guys have Fall River zone, which is right. God, I'm having trouble moving this. Sorry, guys. Oh, I know why. Because I'm doing it with. No, I'm not doing it. Anyway, that's Fall River out there, which is. You never been to Fall River? Holy smokes, man. It's beautiful. I know. I kind of starting to feel bad for the folks in the east because this is going to be a big deal. And again, slow-moving disasters, slow-moving weather events are a handful, and especially when you're dealing with ice storm. That's a sleets, snow, freezing rain. Oh, geez, right? And that's why you're getting so much noise out of the East Coast, and you'll see it. You'll see it tonight through the weekend, and it'll be interesting. I think about playoff games. Since if it was a regular NFL season, that'd be kind of weird, wouldn't it? Freezing rain, because freezing rain lasts for a long time too. It doesn't last for like 10 minutes. It lasts for hours. It can do extreme damage. So that system, the system that went through here yesterday through Southern California, that's the system that's supplying a lot of the more, or at least the mechanism for that moisture to get supplied into that extremely cold air zone. This is Fort Jones. Fort Jones today, let's take a look. There's fog there this morning. And then Fort Jones today is 45. I am going to make it a point to go to Fort Jones. I don't know what I'm going to do there, though. Do I just knock on a door and go, hey, what's up? How's it going? Can I fish in your pond? He's got a little holding pond there. Isn't that pretty? I mean, I don't know what they're raising out there, but you'd feel pretty much like you had the world if you lived out there, I think. I'd be a hermit, though. I'd grow a beard. This is Paradise, looking out towards the Sutter Buttes, the old hawk farm of John Sutter, who goes way back to the gold rush. And you see the fog. Fog's going to burn. I think everybody in the valley sees sun today. I think Sacramento sees sun today. Magay is going to go 53 degrees. Delta's going to go 57, 58. As soon as I say that, I feel like this fog's breaking off, and for a couple of reasons. It doesn't look like it here. This is out in the Delta. This is out by Antioch. But it is. It's going to clear. I had a radio class once, broadcast community. I don't know anything about TV. I was in it for 40 years, but I never really understood how the pictures fly through the air. And so I had a radio class once at Berkeley. It was a communications class, and they explained the radio towers, which is fascinating, the way they send energy up and down. We'll look at that someday, and how that propagates a wave that becomes radio, and the different radio waves, FM, AM. That's fascinating. This is Mount Diablo. Looking towards Mount Diablo today is going to go 57, 58 degrees. That's looking towards the Livermore Valley. You're looking at that going, Bill, it's not going to burn off, dude. I think it burns off. Except for the really deep, dark, except for that, where the San Joaquin River meets the Sacramento River. And maybe Sacramento doesn't see sun. Maybe Modesto doesn't see sun, but I think those edges are. This is Heavenly Valley. Beautiful day. Snow. I mean, there's snow, but it's still way behind where it needs to be. And the indexes are doing good. They're dropping quickly. The 8-station, the 6-station index. We'll look at those soon too, especially if we get a little rain here coming up. This is looking up the Owens Valley towards Mammoth Lakes. There's temperatures are going to be all in the 40s. And then the Salinas Valley today goes 56 degrees. I think the Salinas Valley is going to clear too. Although you got a different deal going. You got a little bit of coastal fog right now. You'll see that at Point Conception. See the coastal fog? I think that's coastal fog. Let me check. That could be. Maybe it bled out. It kind of is. That looks like valley fog bleeding out. I was incorrect, my friend. See how it's going out? So that's bleeding out to the warm ocean. I suspect that's valley fog, which would make sense because we're seeing plenty of it this morning. And then this is our old standby, the Grapevine. This will show a little fog in the morning. This is the south end of the San Joaquin Valley. And you see the fog kind of just get pushed away. I mean, for sure, that's why I think Fresno gets sunshine today. Maybe that low was enough last night to bust up the inversion a little bit. It's cool seeing the towers moving in the shadow. And then we've got, this is Los Angeles under the clouds. Better air, I should have mentioned that right off the top. Better air quality today in Los Angeles. No what do you call it? Air quality alerts, which is good anywhere in the state. So that low that went through kind of stirred things up a little bit. We could look at purple air at some point, but I don't know if we got time. Let's look at it now. I'm just going to do it. Purple air. Sometimes I get thinking about it and I forgot. Sometimes I forget to do it. You know what I mean? Okay, yeah, so that's Sacramento. It's not great, but clearly that's where the inversion is, the reds. And you see that this is where the wood burning is, up around Placerville and the foothills. That's why you get all the red. So the inversion still exists, but it's not, none of it's horror. Let's go to LA, see how you guys are doing. This is particulate matter, 2.5 microns, and doesn't look great. but no air quality advisory. So it's not quite as rampant as yesterday, you guys. Not quite as rampant as yesterday. And so there's Los Angeles. So not as bad. Air quality not perfect, but there's no air quality alert. I didn't see one. And then let's see if this opens up. Let's see where we are now. Salinas, LA, out in the desert. This is kind of just out in the southeastern desert. And I was just looking at the windmills up there. It's an interesting place for windmills. We're facing south. It's a gap. That's what they did. I used to work for a company called LSA, and we worked with, I was a environmental planning firm. And we were like, we'd go look for endangered species, kit fox and hoop snakes, and kit fox was the big one back then. But we worked the windmills because the windmills were causing problems with the birds, because you'd put the windmills in a place where the raptors would like to soar. And we were finding you'd go out under these windmills, especially out to Altamont Pass back in the old days, and you would see bird carcasses, eagles. We saw eagles and a lot of red tails. But anyway, and we'd count them up, and then we'd figure out ways to mitigate. But that does not look like so if we're facing south, this looks like just a funnel for the wind. So that would be probably a Venturi zone that those windmills work well in. Desert's gonna go 67 degrees. And then these are my friends in, that looks like a little coastal fog, doesn't it? Yeah. And that's down in Laguna Beach area. That would be looking towards Saddleback Mountain right there. Okay. These are the forecast highs for today. Thanks for joining me. Do it every morning. I think that East Coast thing is big. Yeah, no doubt, Bill. But I think the thing to understand with it is, if it was just snow, it'd be, that's a pain, but we can plow it. But you're dealing with some infrastructure stuff here. You're dealing with ice storms that when you start knocking down power lines and tree limbs and power goes out and it's cold, because that cold air wedge doesn't go away. It lingers for days. So now you got, maybe it's sunny, but now it's 12 degrees in Kentucky, or 18 degrees, and you've got no heat, no power. And so that's the true concern. So municipalities are going to start declaring states of emergency immediately after this. I mean, I can't predict that, but I can, because the freezing, it's a temperature sandwich, and it's such a signature that you go, this is what's going to happen. Now, winds exactly how far does the ice get? That's why the forecasters are in trouble. This is today, this is tomorrow, California. The forecasters are going, well, where's that line? Because that line, somebody, you could be your neighbor 10 miles up the hill could have freezing rain and you could have snow. Or they would have snow and you would have freezing rain. But the differential or the differences are minute in terms of geography, in terms of weather geography. So there it is. There's the system. And again, you can see this system. So the weather systems interact with each other, don't they? That little cutoff that was giving us like, maybe it'll rain, maybe rain. It rained a little bit. Well, here it goes. It's feeding warm air up. It's warm air, so warm, moist subtropical air. That's unusual, right? Feeds it up here, so now you're up higher, because it's not low clouds, it's higher clouds, because it's warmer air, higher, thicker air column. And then this wedge of cold air comes underneath it and go, whoo. So now you got warm air raining into cold air. And further north, you don't have that. But where this warm air meets the cold air, you got the issues. So that's pretty simple, right? Yeah. And again, freezing rain is the enemy of everyone. No one likes it. And that's what the purple is. Those are winter storm warnings. And then freezing, they're predicting the ice in these zones here, which makes sense, right? Because that's what we were thinking. But that line is going to be the question. Now, is it the New York, Chicago? Not really a question as much, because it's going to be cold. It's going to snow. New York could get a foot of snow. Great Lakes could get a foot of snow. The airports are going to suffer big time. Look at the temperatures right now. -9 in Minneapolis, 11 in St. Louis, Memphis 35. That whole area drives south here, and then this is the warmer air riding up over the top. This is right now. Tomorrow, these temperatures are going to, across the board, especially north of New Orleans, are going to drop 10 more degrees, maybe 15 degrees. So cold air. We look and flights are a thing. This is flight map. Right now, it's just showing Chicago's got some delays. I think they're probably de-icing planes because it's I think it was -8 degrees in Chicago when we looked last. So, but these are this is called flightaware.com. And right now the reds show you how many delays you have and cancellations and things like that. Like Chicago O'Hare has 80 delays and 4 cancellations. But tomorrow and the next day we'll come back to this map. Right now it looks okay, and it shows the hubs and how they impact. Right, it's interesting. The hubs are everything in weather, or in flight. So Chicago, New York. I always think Atlanta, Dallas, Denver, and then I think San Francisco's but those are the hubs. Okay, so buckle up. It's the weekend. Hope you have a good weekend planned up. I do not. I mean, I don't have a bad weekend. I just haven't thought of anything to do yet. I will though. So here is 2.7 in Ferndale. This was a good quake. This was up on the Alaskan area, 5.2. This was this afternoon or earlier today, but kind of quiet on the earthquake front. Let's look at surf. I fast forward to next week. This is Thursday next week. Swells are coming up for us, so we're going to start to see those are high surf advisories if those verify. So that's down the road. But just so you know, it's right now the swells are like this. Kind of, it's not small, but it's not big. I can call that 5 feet. A little junky. See if anybody catches a wave. If I wasn't such a baby, and plus that's coastal fog, and I've gotten to the point now where it's so sad. I literally I already bitched and moaned to you guys about putting a wetsuit on. Yeah, it's cold. I don't want to get in the water. Then you add fog to it, and I'm like, I ain't gonna surf in the fog. When I was little, I'd only go, I'd go out in anything. Now it's got to look like this. Point Conception. Tides are going high this morning. It's amazing, isn't it amazing? So look at the difference. So you go down the Point Conception. This is San Francisco, and then the swell just kind of goes away. And a lot of it has to do with directional stuff, right? Because you're at Point Conception, the swell kind of trims off and doesn't get in essentially. And then we'll go to San Onofre, another look. And I was thinking about this when I was watching this earlier, but you think there's a social contract. So surfing's funny, right? So this guy's cool. I kind of like him because he's like, I just don't want to deal with the politics. So I'm going to sit inside and catch these little in-betweeners, which often are the best. This guy, it's clearly a right. So here comes the set. Let's see who goes. So, okay, this guy knee paddles over. So he's big dogging. That's going to break so you can see it. Looks like a right. Now is he gonna go? Yeah, that's not cool. That guy has position. Attaboy. But this guy big dogged. He did, didn't he? He back paddled that guy. See now, anyway, that was probably his turn, but in the real world that doesn't fly. Okay, here comes another set. This guy's in a good spot. But my point is, it's a whole city. You got a mayor, a police department, you've got it's just like it's a community. And so like what that guy did in the real world, if you did that, you'd be D. But it was probably his turn. I'm not judging him, but what I'm trying to get at is, for those of you who don't surf, and those of you that are learning about this, there's a lot going on here. Just in this, there's 4 guys out. It's teeny and stupid. Like, that's a nice set. We're going to watch that. This one right here. It's teeny and stupid, but there's a whole thing. There's a pecking order. There's a communication. They're probably all friends. That's why that guy did that. But if you weren't all friends and that guy did that to me, he'd hear about it. I'll paddle up from somebody, and especially on a giant longboard when you're all on longboards. This is a good wave. But I'm sure they're friends. Sorry. I know. You're like going, dude, seriously? Is this what we're doing right now? But I want to see that set. There's another set, too. They're getting some fun little sets. So that's a set of waves. Waves come in sets. Oh, dude, I would have gone on that one. I know. I get that could be bigger. Okay, spin. He's in position. He's a little far behind the peak for a longboard. No. No. Look at it peeling, brother. That was you. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Even though the inside guy's gonna catch you inside the corner. Let's see if he gets this one. Poor dude. He has no idea he's being judged by all 10 of us. Is that how many there are of us? 10. That's fine. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's go. Paddle and work it, brother. Work it. Hard, hard. Like you mean it. Okay. Moving on. But I only point that out because it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, like Mount Shasta. The community, the social contract that goes on in the water. And there are policemen, there are cops, there's robbers, there's merchants, it's a town out there. And it's fascinating. It is. And I've been a part of it for so long. It's changed a lot, but it's still a town. Temperature right now in North Star, they're saying what are they saying it is? 30 degrees. That looks nice. A little wind? I see some wind. A little bit of wind. I got to get some bright colors this year. My stuff's all like black. It's not cool. Okay, North Star. And then Palisades. My new favorite mountain, only because my buddies work there. That's fun. That looks fun. Look at the snow. Looks good. Look at the snow coming off the back of this, or the front of the skis. Huh? Lake Tahoe. Okay. What I want to tell you. Oh, I got a little nugget here. This is Chicago Snowman. We're going to keep an eye on this. This is about -5 degrees in Chicago. This is Chicago Snowman, or SS is -2. Pardon me. It was at 1 o'clock. This is Gaylord, Michigan. Me and my buddies would have had a blast with that town name. Only because it was like, that was what we used to call each other. It wasn't homophobic. It was more just like Gaylord was kind of like Lord Fauntleroy kind of, Gaylord. Hey, Gaylord. It probably transitioned that, but we never meant it I like gay guys and gay women and gay pets. I really do. I don't give a shit. This is Gaylord. This is a good idea. So let's check this tomorrow, right? And then we'll go to, dang it. I had Yosemite Falls up, but we lost it. Okay, Venice Beach today is going to go 65 degrees. Okay, a little rambly, but I think we covered a lot of weather stuff. That thing in the east is going to be the real deal. They are getting ready for it. Like I say, it's minus some degrees right now. It says it's -8 degrees at the airport in Chicago. So we'll keep an eye. We'll keep an eye on the airport, the snowman, and the playoff games. I should know who's playing where. Okay, see you back here.